Can game 2 be the turnaround for Allegiance trying to find a split up against Luminosity? Let's head into picks and bans and find out. LG in that first pick position, despite not having success on it, they're going to ban away the Cabrakan from Allegiance.
It's still a good idea because the fact that CycloneSpin can play it this time around, it's something that Team Allegiance can always keep you guessing about what is going to happen. Athena banned, surprisingly enough, as well. Not really wanting to deal with that kind of shenanigans. More than likely, that would have been a pick intended for Weekend.
Yeah, Weekend or PBM, really both of those players known for their Athena play, and we saw how effective Athena can be still in Season 4. ShadowQ making big plays for Flashpoint in the second set of the day. Leaves open Sylvanus, though. Jeff going to be riding around on that tree, trying to bring that sustain, early game pressure, and of course, the big knockup courtesy of Wrath of Terra. But Allegiance is the one with Terra.
Fight sustained was sustained. Sylvanus picked up for Luminosity on the Wisps. You got the Monolith on the Terra side for Team Allegiance. Didn't really work out too well for CycloneSpin. I wouldn't be surprised if they elect to kind of switch it up a little bit and maybe put him on a god that he's more used to. He has been switching things up a little bit, playing these Guardians, but I want to see him play more of these gods where he's going to start making bigger impacts by himself in the mid to late game, such as, Amaterasu, diving the back lines. Even if he can play off on Osiris in the early game and manage to bully ScaryD potentially.
The big difference maker in that game, there were a lot of them to be honest, but ScaryD out-rotating CycloneSpin in the early game really allowed Luminosity to start snowballing that game. Wouldn't be surprised to see ALG put CycloneSpin on a pressure solo laner. Poseidon and Hunbats, 2 picks for Luminosity, again Baskin on that Poseidon. And then the Serqet, they pick Serqet into the cripple from Poseidon, which can be dangerous, but it's also an excellent counter pick to the Sylvanus. And last time we saw Weekend on this Serqet, he absolutely killed it.
Him and Metyankey made a huge impact. They're trying to really make an early game momentum. If they don't really necessarily get it, ALG seems to falter a little bit, which is why they're still in the middle of the pack in the SPL Spring Split for Season 4, but still banning away a cripple out of Cupid. BaRRaCCuDDa has been known to play this god every now and then, but still running the Chang'e.
I love the Cupid ban there, would have really shut down what Allegiance wants to do. Chang'e pick again, really relying. This time Weekend is on a much more damage-oriented jungler on Serqet. Maybe they won't be lacking as much damage this time around. Got no problem with that pick. Huyi, you wanted to see the Amaterasu Toli, but it's going over to ScaryD's hands. That's a scary pick to go up against if you're ALG.
He was playing at a World. He did a great job rotating. It's actually going to be the double Guardian yet again for Team Allegiance, and this could be problematic because similar story to last game, we could easily see ScaryD out-rotating CycloneSpin here, and not only that, he has more mobility on this Amaterasu than the last game on the Hades based off of the aura.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, Allegiance, they do have a little bit more damage in this composition. Medusa comes online a little bit earlier than Rom does, especially in a team fighting phase. Allegiance's team fight is phenomenal. I mean, Weekend can go around the backside, try and pick off a lone member, and the rest of the team can group as 4 and really become just a giant tanky healing wrecking ball, basically, is the idea here for Allegiance. Luminosity trying to stop them from becoming that wrecking ball and trying to secure themselves a 2-0 victory here at the last set of the day, week 3 of the North American SPL.
Right before the bye week, it's very important to get any sort of points that you can. Luminosity, if they close out this game, they'll be at the top of the boards with 10 points, 3 victories, and only 1 split. No double sweeps for them. Allegiance, if they lose this game, they're going to be heading into the bye week with only 4 points, finding 1 win, 1 split, and then 2 set losses.
Couple different relic choices here across the board, really. In the mid lane, you see Metyankey still going for the Aegis. A little bit of a curious decision for me, Toli, because you really expect Metyankey to hold his second ability for the Kraken, the immune for the Kraken, and then use Purification Beads on the Fear No Evil. But I guess he wants to immune the Fear No Evil and Aegis the Kraken?
He's thinking really long-term here. He's thinking about ScaryD's rotation. So he can obviously use it too for the Kraken, but then he's not going to have the immunity frames for the ultimate of the Amaterasu. He wants to make sure that that Aegis will prevent a lot of damage because similar story to Baskin on the Poseidon. Amaterasu's damage, just base damage alone on the ultimate, if you hit the same target all 3 times, that's a lot of physical damage early game, even without physical damage items.
Red buff is stolen away by Baskin successfully, which means he'll hit level 2, as will JeffHindla. Where you see a lot. This is excellent push pressure in the middle lane between Sylvanus and Poseidon, 2 of the best at clearing the wave in their respective roles. On the right-hand side, blue buff stolen away from CycloneSpin. Does have that mana chalice, so I think he expected to lose that buff. Yeah, I'm sure he's not too worried about it. Purple buff was stolen in response by Allegiance on the left, but red buff still standing, and with Baskin and JeffHindla really having the majority of that push power in the mid lane, I don't think that Allegiance is going to have an opportunity to steal away the enemy red.
Different story for Allegiance this game compared to last. They were +2 buffs on the invades, only sacrificing 1 buff, but this time it's the complete opposite. They sacrificed their own blue and red, only stealing the purple buff in return, where it's BaRRaCCuDDa left alone. And it's actually made a little bit of a switch for Luminosity, where Mask and JeffHindla swapped lanes compared to their first game, where they went from middle to the solo lane, which is why we see this kind of an early pressure here. JeffHindla on the Sylvanus with Baskin on the Poseidon. Their lane clear in the mid lane is almost unmatched.
Weekend around the backside here. I don't think he knew that Baskin and JeffHindla were on those left side mid harpies. He does get that shell out from JeffHindla due to a really nice Deathbane, hitting both targets multiple times. Getting a little bit of pressure, but again, JeffHindla does have those wisps to heal up his mid laner and himself.
Good tactic by Allegiance just to stall out a little bit. Nice immunity by Metyankey, preventing the jump from Mask to slow the Chang'e and apply even more damage. Oceans is going to continue to pressure BaRRaCCuDDa under this tower, and this is what you want to do against the Hu-Yi, because you don't want him to be able to set up the Ricochet to be able to clear the wave the way Hu-Yis really want to.
It does take a little bit of time and just positional advantage to be able to ricochet the wave to full clear it, basically hitting the melees with the first shot, bouncing it off the far wall to the beach, and hitting it off the archers. So BaRRaCCuDDa not able to position in that way because of the pressure that Oceans has. Forced back here. Ocean's going for the Bluestone Pendant. We've seen Medusas go both Bluestone Pendant and Death's Toll. Why would you pick Bluestone over Death's Toll or vice versa?
Bluestone is more efficient for Oceans, considering the fact that Medusa is more ability-based. Sometimes players that will elect to go for the Death's Toll is setting themselves up for more of an attack speed build, so they'll want to try to outbox an opposing hunter. And sometimes it would be a good idea to do that if the opposing hunter doesn't have an attack speed steroid, such as BaRRaCCuDDa playing this Hu-Yi.
That is true, but Hu-Yi, one of the premier boxers in the hunter role because of that
crit.
mark of the Golden Crow, can't get crit. Exactly, a lot of things working for the Chinese hunter there in the duo lane. In the mid lane, 3-man grouping for Luminosity. Still JeffHindla holding the hand of Baskin, the new mid laner, moving over from the solo lane here in Season 4. A lot of players moving over to the mid lane from various roles, but I think that it's safe to say Baskin looks the most comfortable early on in this role.
I could also say that Baskin has the best team around him overall out of those three, between Anister, Metyankey, and Baskin, or at least the most solid thus far in the first half of the split.
Uh-oh, Mike gets hit by that Fear No Evil. The Kraken right on top as well, and the Meditation never gets a chance. Great Waxing Moon, though, from Metyankey. Last breath on the Baskin. He's going to die, and the poison did not spread somehow. I thought it would there. ScaryD still with Mask, who actually leaps forward, trying to continue the fight onto the rest of Allegiance, but they've got that double healing compared to only this Wisp sustain from JeffHindla. They pop it, the pull off the mark. Cyclone still boxing with ScaryD. Cyclone still wants to fight, but the rest of the team looks keen on retreating, and Mask, he's going to be able to pick him up. Oceans is here, though, all the way from the duo lane.
Petrify's going to stun out JeffHindla, but the dash to make sure they secure Mask first, and then there goes the second weaken, even coming back into the fray, surviving off that PBM is here with the roll, but ScaryD is not really worried about that one. Overall, that rotation was really useful to be able to turn that team fight back into Allegiance's favor.
Oceans sometimes, this isn't the first time we've seen Oceans all the way in the solo side pre-5 minutes. Sometimes it comes back to haunt him a little bit. He loses a little bit too much farm. Can set himself behind. That time, certainly not the case. Able to pick up 2 kills in that rotation. And like you mentioned, I love the presence of mind to stun out JeffHindla with that Petrify, still round the corner, find the kill on the Mask, and then clean up the stun target who was just sitting there waiting for him.
Those 2 kills allow him to get a 300 net worth advantage over BaRRaCCuDDa. If that rotation doesn't net him those 2 kills, BaRRaCCuDDa would be able to catch up back into this lane very easily against Oceans, who's been constantly pushing out the Hu-Yi under the tower repeatedly. Still having a 1-level deficit here is BaRRaCCuDDa, but he's not really too worried once these team fights start rolling around. His ultimate is always going to be very impactful, controlling a lot of space.
2-level lead here for the mid lane, or rather 1 level, right as Metyankey hits level 7. Baskin having a pretty solid game so far. There's Weekend, uses the last breath to get out of the Kraken damage, but that dot is going to be enough from JeffHindla. Last breath still on to Baskin, but Mask finds a 3-man Fear No Evil. No follow-up quite yet, but BaRRaCCuDDa's made this rotation all by himself. No Oceans here, but he does. He is there. He finds the 3-man Petrify.
He's going to be able to get away from danger. PBM not dying to that overhead smash, finding the kill onto Weekend. The cripple from Baskin prevented him from getting away, so he was forced into using his own ultimate just to be able to get off some return damage, but it wasn't enough. His teammates weren't in position to really follow up there. ScaryD proxy farming between that tier 1 and tier 2. Going to be able to start looking to invade some of these back Harpies thus far. He has a 2-level lead over CycloneSpin.
ScaryD once more controlling the lane, and it's not necessarily the player in CycloneSpin, but the god that Cyclone is piloting. Terra, excellent in a solo lane, has clear that is somewhat safe, has to commit the dash, yes, but can do so pretty easily under tower, clears very well, but it's slow, and you have to be patient, and it takes a little bit for it to come online and ready to go. Terra brings a lot out of the solo lane, but quick clear that can out-rotate the enemy team isn't really one of them.
I mean, definitely having a lot of control in team fights, but not if the team fights aren't going your way once you start making the rotations. Anyway, 3 levels behind, ScaryD just now hitting level 10, CycloneSpin just now hitting level 8, and this is going to allow Luminosity to look for potential blue buff invade, but 4 members are here from Allegiance.
ScaryD did get the blue buff. His dash is blocked there by CycloneSpin. Like you mentioned, 4 members here. But Weekend looks like he's content to just let his solo laner hang out without that blue buff. Dazzling offense was used there by ScaryD in response to the stun from CycloneSpin, despite the rest of the team not being aggressive onto the solo laner, but without any sort of ward coverage on that right-hand side, impossible for ScaryD to know what was happening.
That's exactly right. He didn't really know where everyone was from Allegiance, so rather play it safe than sorry. And that ultimate's a very short cooldown anyway compared to a lot of other abilities. He's not really too worried, but Mass is trying to get a pick onto PBM, but a great counter cataclysm, but nobody else here to help him out.
Now Metyankey has to use his immune as BaRRaCCuDDa drops the Suns on his wife. That's messed up. He's even using the skin, totally. The Suns.
It's all about tough. You know what? It's all about that tough love, and BaRRaCCuDDa is showing Metyankey who really wears the pants in that relationship.
Well, it's BaRRaCCuDDa and the rest of Luminosity right now. They're up about 2,000 gold, trying to extend it with this Gold Fury. Not a whole lot of ultimates here to secure it, but Allegiance zoned out completely as ScaryD in the face of Oceans. Oceans actually winning this trade pretty handily. CycloneSpin's teleported in, trying to find the route onto Scary, who's falling very, very low. Nice dash, but it's not going to be enough. Oceans on point with the basic attack, finds the return kill, and that's a big one to get onto the solo laner from Luminosity.
Over zoning yet again. We see this from different players. Sometimes the goal here is already being secured. You don't need to be positioned between the purple and the red buff that far away, because at that point nobody from your team is going to able to really help you out, so it's not worth your life. And the fact that ScaryD had to use his ultimate on the right hand side means he had no possible chance of escape there, especially at this point where his aura's not maxed out quite yet. He doesn't truly get the full benefit of all the movement speeds.
Tower taken down in the solo or the duo lane side as a response to losing ScaryD. The rest of Luminosity was still split up and farming the rest of the map, so Allegiance take advantage of that. Knock down the tier 1 tower, meaning BaRRaCCuDDa's a little bit more exposed on the left-hand side. With a mobile jungler like Weekend, you can absolutely take advantage of that. Mask has really spent a lot of time farming after picking up that Gold Fury. Should easily have enough for that Hydra's Lament. Yeah, right around 2,000 gold in hand to be able to finish off that significant power spike. Hunbatz really transforms as a character once he finishes that second item. Hydra's Lament, you kind of have to rely on RNG a little bit. Hunbat's passive, of course, gives you a crit chance after using an ability on your next auto attack, which conveniently enough synergizes perfectly with Hydra's Lament passive.
That's what it's all about. A lot of junglers basically want to figure out the right pathing for itemization between Hydra's Lament, the Heartseeker as well. These are your 2 main items after the Warrior tapping, but for Hunbatz, it's an easy no-brainer. You have to go for this Hydra's Lament and rely on all the potential crit damage.
Baskin uses the Kraken there, even if it may not have been needed. Better safe than sorry in terms of securing the objective with your Giant Mage ultimate. And Luminosity has in these 2 games, has had a big focus on this Portal Demon, Toli. Why is that?
Well, the Portal Demon still provides you a lot of gold in hand. On top of this, it's very easy to pick off. It has the same defenses and health as the Gold Fury, so you might as well go for this objective, considering that a lot of teams neglect warding around the Fire Giant area, or at least compared to the Gold Fury side. It's more important to keep your dual lane alive than your soul laners. So soul laners are naturally tanky, which is why you don't see too much vision. And a lot of teams will look to opt to take advantage of the lack of vision by going for this objective, getting the gold, and then getting the objective in terms of getting in and out of that portal like Mask just took there.
Weekend still lurking around his own speed buff as it is due to respawn very shortly. CycloneSpin gone immediately for the Shield of Regrowth. No real defense available on that item, but good amount of health, right around 200. A lot of CDR as well, 20% in fact.
It's a good amount.
Of course, the passive, the real big reason we see CycloneSpin go for this item on a character like Amaterasu that can change stance very, very often and really make a big use of that speed burst, as if Amaterasu wasn't fast enough already.
Exactly. 25% movement speed when her aura is maxed out. And once she caps off on CDR with Breastplate of Valor, assuming that's the option that CycloneSpin likes to go here, he's going to be able to switch stances about every 4 to 5 seconds or so. And considering the fact that the Shield of Regrowth passive lasts for 4 seconds, there's never going to be a point in time that CycloneSpin's not moving fast unless he's out of mana.
CycloneSpin gonna try and respond with a Tower of his own on his right-hand side and will do so successfully. But Weekend is here. Dazzling offense immediately used by CycloneSpin just to ward off the enemy jungler. Not sure if they would have had any kill potential on him anyways, though Weekend does have a good amount of damage already. He hasn't quite finished off that Jotun's Wrath or Brawler's Beat Stick, whatever he wants to go for. But Serqet with that passive just does so much damage with those catalysts.
Especially considering the fact that it's true damage on her ultimate. It's going to basically negate any sort of protections being built. Even if it is the tier 1 breastplate there on the side of CycloneSpin, you're going to be able to really pick that one off, especially considering there's no magical defense to really prevent CycloneSpin to survive against CycloneSpin. Still level 12 Terra with Shoes of the Magi. It's a respectable amount of damage if caught under the stun and all that damage over time.
12 minutes in right now, Luminosity and Allegiance tied up in kills, 4-4, but Luminosity significantly ahead in terms of gold. 5,000 at the 12-minute mark is a pretty substantial lead for the blue team on the left side, your spectator UI there. Luminosity certainly looking like one of the best teams in North America.
This is definitely a different change of pace from Luminosity compared to the last game, because this is just an uphill climb that's not being denied by Allegiance, whereas the last game, it was about the 16 to 20 minute mark where Luminosity got a window of an opportunity and just opened the game wide open, and ALG couldn't really truly respond here. At this point in time, Luminosity have not been halted at all.
Do you think that this is a mistake from Luminosity to allow Allegiance to farm up during this downtime, or do you think it's smart for them to have waited until this Gold Furies respawned?
They might as well have waited because of the fact that they have this experience lead. They have 2 levels in the solo, 2 levels in the jungle as well. They can easily wait. And this Gold Fury is dropping. It's already below half.
Not quite done yet, though, and Allegiance actually stole that away. It looks like Waxing Moon was able to get that from a distance. Oceans on the full retreat. Geb Shield from PolarBearMike is good, but he's stunned out by that ultimate from Amaterasu, and Mask able to pick up the enemy Hunter. All in all, though, Allegiance willing to trade their Hunter away for a Gold Fury.
CycloneSpin still looking to dive that backline. Mask is still here. He took a lot of damage. Just going to get rooted into place. The Wrath of Terra being even used. Kraken are going to get negated. Weekend not taking any damage, but the Suns by the tier 2 tower.
CycloneSpin actually turns it around onto Weekend and lives himself. BaRRaCCuDDa 1v3 between the dual lane towers. No problem for the veteran Hunter. Mask jumps in, finds a multi-man slow. Metyankey forced into that Aegis. No way. Mask teleports into that. A Whirlpool gonna get immune courtesy of that Geb Shield from PolarBearMike. All in all, 2 for 0, but Luminosity don't get the Gold Fury, so the gold lead stays right around the same as it was prior.
Still have the sustain from JeffHindla. The damage is correct onto Metyankey. Waxing Moon is back, but look at this. It's just no damage from Allegiance. BaRRaCCuDDa has no fear at all. He can easily continue to 2-on-3 because he has Mask coming around the corner. This is all just a bait.
They're looking for it. Mask, I don't think they know he's here. He doesn't have Fear No Evil, but he's certainly got enough damage to put up pressure onto Allegiance, but the focus is the tower, not the players, and Luminosity got what they came for. Mask stunned out. There's a Cataclysm as well. Oceans, look at his pathing. He's coming around the backside, but Metyankey's gonna fall before Oceans is there to help. Mask picks him up. He is gonna get petrified and brought down by Oceans, trying to find the return kill onto JeffHindla as well. But the numbers advantage is in favor of Allegiance. JeffHindla falls to Weekend, but Baskin has arrived.
Baskin's here. He's looking for a potential Kraken target. He's gonna negate a lot of the damage from Weekend with that Aegis. Now it's gonna be a 3-on-4, but Oceans is gonna dash the Kraken. CycloneSpin though is gonna be able to chase this out. CycloneSpin trying to root people into place. Baskin's gonna fall though, but not until CycloneSpin gets answered.
The fight is still happening. CycloneSpin trying to pick up Oceans, and he will do so successfully. successfully. Weaken, not a lot of mobility left. He's used his cooldowns. BaRRaCCuDDa still here, fighting low HP. Weaken decides to ambush away, but ScaryD doesn't want to let him go. There's the Geb shield. The ricochet was a good attempt from BaRRaCCuDDa, but not going to be able to find a home. An extended fight ends up in Luminosity's favor overall, I would say. They keep their gold lead right around the same, right around 5,000 gold. But you got to go back to that Gold Fury Seal, Tully. That was big to keep Allegiance in this game.
Absolutely. In terms of basically make sure the gold difference is still the same, but the experience has still been slowly climbing despite that gold chart being at a standstill. Luminosity extending that team fight after picking off that tier 1 tower, and just like this, they're thinking ahead. After one objective to the next. The Gold Fury to the tier 1 in the duo to the Portal Demon. No problem. Waxing Moon, though. Not this time, Metyankey. Not for the second time. ScaryD is going to be able to secure that one.
6,000 gold now for Luminosity, and again, that focus onto the Portal Demon being a nice source of income for Luminosity. Baskin has a 3-level lead over Metyankey right now, but despite that, only 1, 2, and 6. The last Kraken kind of just gambling that Oceans didn't have his Lacerate up. Wasn't the case, so we missed the Kraken, which is a little unfortunate.
It's all about the mobility here from Luminosity. They have Amaterasu. ScaryD's aura is going to make a huge impact. They also have the Fatalis and the Gem of Isolation for Baskin. So he's going to be very difficult to really lock down. He's going to be able to dive the backline alongside ScaryD and Mask with that Fear No Evil. And 4 members here from Luminosity grab this tier 1 tower uncontested in the mid lane, rotating even further.
Oceans needs to be here for these fights because he's the only one who's close to his opposition in terms of levels, and he's been a big impact. In fact, he's top of the player damage charts right now for both teams. He's really killing it on this Medusa. One of his signature gods. I remember talking to a couple different hunters about Oceans during super regionals or group stages last season when he was still a rookie, new on the scene, and a lot of them told me, I mean, he's good, but man, his Medusa is nasty. We're lucky that Medusa isn't meta. Well, Medusa's meta now, and Ocean's making him show exactly why he's very, very comfortable on this hunter.
Just like that. Gem of Isolation with Whirlpool, a few Trident shots, and Weakens at half health. He has to retreat under his own base, under the fountain, and this is why Poseidon is just so good against Serqet. And Allegiance kind of gimped themselves by picking the Serqet into the Poseidon here for Baskin. But either way, this is a god that Weaken has been able to make a lot of plays with. He's been able to rotate quite a lot and look for some of these opportunities. But now with Blink, this is going to be the turning factor as to whether or not Allegiance is going to find the picks that they really need.
Metyankey's picked up a Blink for himself as well, so not really respecting that Fear No Evil. It's not often that you see a team have a Hunbats and then the enemy team only responds with 2 sets of Purification Beads. Metyankey not going for it in the middle lane, so you expect to see Mask really going for that mid-mage, that healing mage for Metyankey in the mid lane. Gold Fury started up once more by Luminosity. Well, they just know this is happening, but I don't think they know how fast it was happening as it's already dead. No stealing that away this time. LG get the Gold Fury, and they're not done yet.
No, the Fear No Evil catching PBM. The Petrified doesn't save his life. Metyankey gonna immune the dazzling offense, the knock-up as well. Waxing Moon trying to deter, but the suns are raining down. We're gonna get Aegis out for a little bit longer. Still diving though is ScaryD. Tier 2 tower being aggressed on, looking for more initiation though. CycloneSpin and Weaken on the side.
BaRRaCCuDDa a little bit separated from the rest of his team, but Allegiance not in position to capitalize. The rest of Luminosity was hanging out in that lane as well, so I think that BaRRa would have been able to get to his help if necessary. They lose PolarBearMike to Allegiance. They lose the Gold Fury. They're losing this game right now by about 8,000 gold. Only down 3 kills, but the real thing that stood out to me about Luminosity so far in this young season is how good their objective control is and how much they value it as a team over just outright brawling.
And if we could look at the wards placed, I'm seeing 3 Vision Chalices here, 15 being placed here from JeffHindla. A great job warding, as well as Baskin, 10 wards. When was the last time you looked at a mid laner that had 10 wards placed, not even 20 minutes into the game?
That's a ton of wards, and he's 7 wards up on Metyankey. That's really the bit. I mean, if both mid laners place 10 wards, it's not a big deal, right? Because both teams just have vision. But when one mid laner is placing 10 or 11, and then your mid laner is placing 3, it's tough. And especially with how far behind Metyankey's been all game, he hasn't you can't really afford to buy wards in that sort of scenario. You need to save that gold to build your items.
And with the Vision Chalice costing 400 gold, you just need 8 wards to make it cost effective. Anything after that is just all gravy at that point, and already saving 100 gold is Baskin, and saving a ton of gold is JeffHindla, +7 from the norm.
Yeah, gotten a lot of value out of those Oracle, Chalice of the Oracles. Luminosity getting a lot of value out of the objectives they've gotten as well. A couple wards here around the Fire Giant has actually been started up by Luminosity. ScaryD here zoning. Weekend not even close. He's in the mid lane trying to relieve pressure on that middle tower. There's the Blink, Fear No Evil in for Mass. PolarBearMike to focus once more, but a great waxing moon onto the backside. Baskin already very low. He's gonna fall, I believe, to this last breath, and it spreads to both Mask and JeffHindla. This is a great fight for ALG.
Weekend's gonna get picked off though by ScaryD diving the backlane. Now he's trying to survive a little bit longer, gonna get knocked up. It's up to CycloneSpin to find the potential route here. He does find the route. The stun is gonna be off the mark, dashing away into safety. Only gonna be a 1-for-1 there, and that was a great potential team fight here for Allegiance based off of that one waxing moon from Metyankey.
That's the dream when you play Chang'e. You just wait for the enemy team to engage in a narrow corridor and you hit a big waxing moon as they're trying to get in there and follow up. Absolutely making it pay with that pick in the mid lane this time around, and Weekend again finding Baskin on the backside. Very, very weak. Does a great job of picking him up as well. Portal Demon will go red this time in favor of Allegiance, but a great pull from JeffHindla. CycloneSpin still had 1 dash, but ScaryD's teleported around the backside. He's got his ultimate ready to go. There's the ultimate, though, from Waxing Moon again. Metyankey making a difference on this Chang'e.
And Weekend is on the left-hand side, trying to zone out more members. They're going to get chased out by Mass, Fear No Evil, but a great use of the ultimate, preventing the overhead smash. Doesn't matter. BaRRaCCuDDa comes to the aid, dropping out Weekend, and yet again, Fire Giant is still available to be taken. Have to be careful about starting this Fire Giant, considering that Portal is up there on the side of Allegiance. They could all just take it.
They could, but Oceans, he's got to take an exit towards the north. The ScaryD finds him with that dash. Mask pretty low, but the blink, no, BaRRaCCuDDa was trying to find something with that jump. That's what I saw there. JeffHindla rooted in place by CycloneSpin, but Allegiance just doesn't have enough damage here without Weekend to really make anyone pay.
That's a great corridor for Allegiance to be able to fight into. Baiting Luminosity under that area is going to make sure that the knockup is good, but the Fire Giant is getting really low. Sun's being used offensively. ScaryD with the ultimate. Wrath of Terra as well. Kraken on the left, going to get negated by the Aegis.
Ocean's trying to find an exit. Another good waxing moon from Metyankey, but it's just not enough damage. It's followed him up by the Petrify. BaRRaCCuDDa's been standing there for about 4 seconds, but the rest of Luminosity is doing enough to make sure that the Hunter is safe. Nice ricochet, hits a couple, but not the one he had marked. CycloneSpin doesn't get the stun.
Weekend was thinking about going on in there, but without PolarBearMike here, it's very difficult without those shields to rely on, especially without the knockups. And yet again, Luminosity, they're just constantly baiting Allegiance out of position to be able to really stop this Fire Giant.
Fear No Evil is available for Mass. They're looking to secure the Fire Giant with it and zone out the enemy team, and it goes the way of Luminosity as the Mass Fear No Evil's the backside. Weekend, he's in the front, and he's going to be in a lot of trouble. BaRRaCCuDDa puts him down as Oceans fell as well. ScaryD trying to find multiple members with that dazzling offense. The Cataclysm from PolarBearMike enough to buy his team some time, but I don't think it's going to be enough. CycloneSpin falls to BaRRaCCuDDa 4-0-4. CycloneSpin's not found though, as he's dead.
23 minutes into the game, Luminosity are looking so strong here. Jeff and BaRRa, the Sex Tank, are here. They're diving this tier 2 tower potentially. They're going to be able to utilize this wave to their advantage. Level 19 Hui with the Fire Giant, using the sustain of Sylvanus. ScaryD is going to be leading the charge as well, grabbing another 1,500 gold under Luminosity's pocket. They're above 10,000 gold in the lead here.
11,000 gold to be exact for Luminosity. They're looking really, really strong once more in Game 2. Game 1 was a pretty swift surrender from Allegiance. They haven't really fared much better in Game 2. The mid-game was better. I think that's unfair of me to say. Their Game 2 has looked better in terms of their drafting composition and the team fights. But at the end of the day, the result seems to be the same.
It's just Luminosity having more control in these team fights. Wrath of Terra from JeffHindla, the Fear No Evil from Mask, ScaryD as well, diving that backline. Now granted, CycloneSpin does have options as well, but it's just not enough really to match Luminosity.
This has been a very impressive game for me from Luminosity, because you can speak to this too, Toli. As a former pro player, one of the hardest things to coordinate your team on is a Fire Giant dance of, we're pulling fire, okay, get off, go on this target. We're pulling fire, get off, go on this target. And Luminosity did that 3-4 times, and that engagement on the right-hand side, they lose nobody. They don't lose the objective. They get multiple kills over and over again, and they're working together very, very impressively as a unit.
It's all about coordinating what cooldowns are available on your side and what's not available on the opposing side. That's more important than what's available on your side, because if you don't have to worry about Weekend blinking into the backline, then okay, that means Baskin can still look to play aggressive with his whirlpools, with using his Fate Talus. Same story goes on the side of PolarBearMike. If that Geb shield is down, then they can easily go off the Fire Giant and then go onto any target they really want to and burst them down.
Baskin's picked up a flickering ritual here, trying to get away from Weekend blinking into the backside if necessary, as well as a frenzy here for JeffHindla. Luminosity feeling pretty confident. I don't blame him, up around 11,000 gold. It's going to be even more than that now after that tier 2 tower falls in mid, a little bit closer to 15,000 gold, 19,000 experience as well. Luminosity very much controlling this set up against Allegiance. Really showing that, I mean, any team, it's been proven that any team in North America can beat any other team. I think that we can safely say that. Flashpoint getting on the board today with a nice 2-0 over Noble. Noble taking a game off of Luminosity, so if you're a believer in the transitive property, that means Flashpoint, one of the best teams in North America.
Probably so. You never know what will happen at LAN. This is all a testing ground currently. This is week number 3 currently out of 6. The bye week is coming up. EBM dashing into the backline, blinking rather. He's going to be in a lot of trouble though.
Cracking onto him as well as Fear No Evil, and Mass quickly cleans up 2 members of Allegiance. Left side Phoenix fell with no resistance whatsoever. Luminosity still have 5 members strong. Only 1 ultimate though. Only have Wrath of Terra. No burst available for that Titan. Frenzy was popped there as well by JeffHindla, so that's why you see Luminosity playing a little bit more conservative. Scary D, not a believer in playing conservative. He's going in. Now the rest of Luminosity saying, oh yeah, we can do this Titan. We can try and take this 2-0. Good Petrify out from Oceans, but the Titan falling very, very quickly. Baskin looking for the kills. The rest of Luminosity looking for the set win, and they'll get it. 27 minutes in, 18-8, Luminosity with the clean 2-0 over Allegiance.
Great job by Luminosity. They extend their lead in the North American standings. They're going to have 10 points now, 3 victories and 1 split. Allegiance still struggling a little bit, 4 points only for them.
Going into the bye week, we've got a lot of teams ready to shake it up potentially, ready to try and move on up. But we still got to look back at what we saw today, and we've got 1 man to do it. That's Hindu Man. Take it away, man.
Yeah, that's me. Scary D is probably the first thing that comes to your mind when you watch that set overall. Let's go back to game 1 and you'll see straight away from the outset, hi-rez had a really big, important impact throughout the whole set. Scary D really made an impact consistently with very good ultimates, very good use of his crowd control abilities, and actually showing that solo mages, at least the hi-rez solo mage, which is technically a guardian but now a mage, can make an impact. In this one, you can just see he forces the whole team of Allegiance back there by halting the last 3 members and just secures the gold fury for his team for relatively free. And then at the end here, perfectly timed ultimate to catch Oceans on the way down, set his team up for an easy, quick 2 kills and continues on with it. That was game 1, and it was pretty much a slaughter fest in favor of Luminosity. 14-1, 3.5k tower damage to 0 shows that Allegiance didn't really get things going in that first game. Second game, though, bit of a different story between the 2 teams. Obviously, Allegiance did fight back into it a little bit stronger this time round, but once again, it was Luminosity that came out on top. We're going to start things off once again with Scary D, who had a fantastic game on Amaterasu. Most of the replays we got here are of the fights against Weekend. You can see how Weekend got a nice little playoff on him, but before he could get killed, it was a quick turnaround thanks to the support of Mask. And then in the team fight later on, Weekend looking to escape, and guess what? Scary's there with the Sunder cleanup crew on aisle right-hand side. And then, as I mentioned, Masked. Had a pretty good game so far today. Rough situation to be in here, but the quick turnaround for the ultimate made it at least a 1-for-1 before he went down. But he was instrumental in a lot of the engagements, and towards the end, the big old play with the 3-man Fear No Evil sets up an easy quick 2 kills and gets LG the win they were after. 18-8 at the end, 48 assists in total, shows the high kill participation from both teams when you can see Allegiance down there as well at 24 with only 8 kills themselves. It was a very good performance from both, but LG, well, they continued doing what they need to do, staying at the top of the standings or as close to it as possible. Eager are hot on their heels now over in North America. As we go to the standings, you'll see exactly that. And at the bottom, well, Saw still struggling. Flashpoint picked up their first couple of wins this weekend as well. Flashpoint saw Allegiance sitting near the bottom now after Noble took a bit of a tumble today as well. There is a bit of a divide coming between the two. United very fortunate to get an easy 2-0 today thanks to the forfeit out of Soul Gaming. And that's only after 3 weeks of play. Now, the Pro League will go into a lull for a week. There is a bye week in the SPL right now, so there'll be no SPL action next weekend or on Thursday either. But we will have SCL this Monday once again. The Smite Console League continues North America, I believe. We're in week 2 right now, and we'll see how they do tomorrow. Make sure you tune in at 1 p.m. EST for all that action. From everyone here, though, at hi-rez Studios, it's time to call it a day. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's Smite, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time in the SPL.